Chiquitita! Chiquitita! Yeah, baby. Protect female sports. There you go. Yeah.
They're kicking us out because we care about women and girls.
No, that's not true. That's not what we're doing.
Yeah.
I'm an activist myself. You can't say that. Yeah, thank you. Thank you. I got love for everybody.
Is it no signs allowed?
Just outside.
Just our sign.
No signs inside?
Just our sign.
No signs inside?
Our sign's not allowed. Other signs are allowed. There's a girl not going to state because of a boy. Right now,
Because
just
what?
happened.
There's a
Just happened.
transgender female in there that's winning?
Just went to state.
Really?
Just now.
In high school?
10 minutes ago.
Shut up. What
Took a girl's spot.
It's disgusting. I find that fucking offensive. Which part? It shouldn't even fucking matter. It's none of your business what someone else does. That's offensive. You have fucking issues. I feel fucking sorry for all the sorry.
What is going on, everybody? Wired here. I hope you guys are having an excellent Tuesday. I just stumbled across this story, which I found very interesting, about a trans-identified California high school track star who blows out the female competitors and costs women athletes their awards. Now, I'm on the side of science and logic here, and I'm not opposed to people living, their truth or anything like that. But I definitely don't think that they should be taking the places of actual women who are, in this sport, competing in this sport. Which I know running's a hard thing. I can only run about, maybe 50 yards before I'm winded. I'm a smoker. So, is what it is. But for these women who train, they practice for this, to be blown out by a biological man, I just don't ever agree with. However, I want to kind of manipulate the system a little bit. I have a cat. He's 5. His name is Coco, who acts a lot like a dog. He greets you at the door and stuff like that. He's always around you. He always wants to lay on your lap and stuff like that. Very, very affectionate cat. He still does go in a litter box, so he's not a complete dog, but he's, like I say, he's transitioning. So maybe I can enter him into some dog competitions, and he could probably get the jumping award or whatever. I'm sure he can jump higher than any of the other dogs there because he is just a really good dog, if you know what I mean, a really good boy. Anyway, that's my joke for the day. I'm sorry. I'm sure it didn't land, but my cat, I say sometimes he acts more like a dog than dogs do. So I don't see why I can't submit him into any dog competitions and see what he can do. Right? I mean, that's the logic in this day and age, of course. Yeah. I would run into a couple problems with that, but really I shouldn't. Anyway, let's get into the article. A trans-identified male student athlete will be moving on to compete in California's track and field state tournament next week after placing second in the women's 1600 meter race, beating out female competitors that will no longer get the chance to compete for a state title. And this is definitely a problem. We saw this with the whole Leah Thomas thing, which isn't really talked about all that much, or it was, but Leah Thomas, to get that spot, beat out somebody who was a biological woman who trained their entire life for it, and could have clinched the last spot to participate in that race. But they were rejected because a biological man decided to come in who was placed 463rd in the men's division, 463rd, to then be number 1 in the women's division. Yeah, no, I don't know how anyone can talk about biological advantage. Athena Ryan. Oh, and I like that name, Athena, too. That's a real shame. A biological male will be advancing to the California Interscholastic Federation State Track and Field Championships after placing second in the girls' varsity 600 meter run on Saturday, finishing behind Hanae Thompson of Montgomery and ahead of Ellie Buckley of Campoledino. Well, I'm sorry, I butchered names. Ryan had been competing on the Sonoma Academy's boys tracks and field team until he transitioned into a female until 2021. Well, that was, that was a year and a half ago at best, 2.5 years ago at worst. Senior Adeline Johnson, who placed fourth, lost her chances of advancing to the championship meet by one spot and was seen on video during the awards ceremony giving a thumbs down while standing next to Ryan, who is currently a junior. Johnson, 18, was in a comeback season after fracturing her hip in the summer of 2022. Well, very good for her. That can't really be an easy thing to do, overcome those. Like I said, I always devolved to Bethany Hamilton on this. I don't know if anyone knows who that is. She's a female surfer who, when she was very good surfer, I guess, from a very young age. Learned to surf when she was 3. She's winning championships at 7. And unfortunately had an accident with a shark and had her left arm bitten off at 13. And 26 days later, she's back on the board, relearning how to surf. She goes on to win many things. She's a very great surfer, very inspirational person. I think not only for, a beacon champion for women, I just think of the human spirit, essentially. I think Bethany Hamilton is a phenomenal person. I always think back on that. So this is not to the same extent, but I mean, coming back from a hip fracture, that's nothing to joke about. But now this young woman's been denied the ability to compete because a biological man has beat her out. Which, I always keep saying, I know this is high school, this is a little bit different, but why can't you have your own league and your own locker rooms? Is that difficult? I don't think it is. Let's keep reading. The Independent Council of Women's Sports Icons, a network that fights to eliminate trans-identified men from competing against women, posted a series of clips to Twitter that showed Ryan blowing his female competitors out of the water. Ryan, still a junior, blew by female seniors in the field signed to run at NCAA Division I schools this coming fall. Now, of course, there's a biological advantage. This is why, they send, essentially why the draft is mandated for men. All men have to sign up for the draft. Women can, and that's fine. It's optional, but, if you want, it just is what it is. People know what they're doing. Individuals came to the track meet to protest trans-identified students and athletes competing against women and were removed by security, as you saw in the video before. Security removed women from the field, seen holding signs in support of girls in the sectional meet. Many parents were completely unaware there was a boy competing in girls' races. Others were appreciative that they were there when they themselves felt silenced. The women holding the banner belonged to a group called Women Are Real and said that they received praise all evening with members of the crowd coming out of the stands to give them fist pumps and high fives. Well, I can't, I'll give them a clap. So I applaud those women or men, whoever's holding the sign, for doing that. I think people should speak out about this. I think really, I'm into the red pill movement a little bit. And I think women do have certain advantages that men don't have in this society. But I'm starting to really shift my my mentality on that, just because I feel like now there's a deletion or an erasure of women. I really do. I think it's like, now men have kind of realized this and are now invading women's spaces, and it's glorified. I don't know if it should be, damned or anything like that, but I don't think it should be glorified. I definitely don't think that. After the race, Ryan appeared to be unfazed by the protest and told Miles Split on his second place finish, "I wasn't expecting that. I dropped like 17 seconds on my season best in the past 2 weeks. After last weekend, I didn't think I could run low fives again. I was just coming here trying to break 5. I'm glad I finished." Well, that's great for you and all that stuff. Listen, I'm saying I'm not very physically active. I'm sure I could honestly beat out a bunch of 17-year-old girls. And I smoke about a pack a day. I'm just saying. And that's no slack to them. Or maybe I couldn't. I have no idea. I'm not a pinnacle of physical fitness here. Pretty slim, but I do have unhealthy habits. But that's not the point. The point is, and I'm sure no rational person would ever dream of taking an opportunity like this away from a girl who has worked hard for it and has probably been running for years and years and years since they were young to try to do something like this. And I don't think it's fair. That's why everyone says, I get, messages sometimes. People are like, Wired, why do you keep speaking about all this, trans stuff? And I was like, well, I have a daughter who I love very much. I have a mother who I love very much, even though she's a little old to be competing in sports. But someone's got to speak out for it. And I applaud this young woman who has speaking out for it. Like I applaud Riley Gaines for speaking out for it. And I think a lot of women, I used to be like, why don't women speak out about this? But I think they're scared. They're scared of being canceled. And I think it's a really real fear. Everyone capitulates to this, 0.04% or whatever it is. And it's not right. So I'm going to keep talking about it, keep getting shadow banned on YouTube for it, but that's okay. I just want to bring these stories to you guys, make myself heard, and speak up for these young ladies who are very courageous and who should be getting these spots, who should be celebrated for all the hard work they've done, and yet it's snatched away from them. And I hate that. I really do. Anyway, that's all I got. Leave a like on the video. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. It helps out with the algorithm, all that type of stuff. I will catch you all in the next one, and thank you very much for listening this long. Later.